Well, hello, 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 hello. I'm so excited today. Today is my very first show. This is the launch of Konversations with Kendell Lenice. I can't tell you how grateful I am, how happy I am to be able to do this. I've been wanting to do this. I prayed about this for so long, and it's finally here. So, hey, everybody that's supporting, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And let me just give you a little background. This is Konversations with a K. I'm a host and a life coach, and I want to welcome everyone. This show is about trials, testimonies, and triumphs. In life, you're guaranteed to go through challenges and changes. Consider them blessings, because that's exactly what they are. The beauty of your journey is that it's your journey. Amen. It's exclusively yours. Everyone's story is different, but we all share similar experiences. If we can help someone in the midst of telling our stories, then our experiences are not in vain. Sharing our stories is freeing for us and hopefully inspiring for others. So I thank you so much for tuning in to Konversations. If you're ready to be inspired, then sit tight because we're about to have a real conversation. Okay, to my left, this young lady, this shining star here is Danielle Kinsey. She is a blogger. She is an author. She is a what else are you, Danielle? A poet, Jesus lover. A Jesus lover. Okay. Maybe I should have said that first. Okay. And she's also, like I said, an author and a poet, a great poet, I might add. So today we're going to talk about infertility. And with infertility, there's a lot that comes with that. So today's show is infertility. Whose fault is it? So whose fault is it, Danielle?
Oh, boy. I have to say, going through my experiences with infertility, maybe in the beginning part of it, I definitely blamed myself.
Okay.
I blamed God.
Okay.
In hindsight, looking back now, I don't blame anyone.
Okay.
I think it was just like you said, it was a journey. And I believe that I had to go through that journey to bless other people.
Okay, and I believe that. I just want to, Danielle has a book, y'all, and we're going to tell you all about how you can get that book towards the end of the show. But I want to read just an excerpt from your book, because this is what the show is about. Yes. So when I read this, I was like, this is what it's about. Okay. A wise person once said, "There is no agony like a story untold. That's why it's important for me to tell my story that's inside of me. I have accepted the only way to ease the pain in my heart is to tell the truth." Well, tell the truth and what?
Shame the devil.
That's right. And this is the epitome. This lady here, this shining star, I call her, she is the epitome of transparency.
Oh, bless you.
She will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I mean, it's so true that I'm reading a book like this because it's so deep. And I don't want to take up all of your time, but I want to just talk about, and there's something else I just want to read, and then I want to know what inspired this poem. Okay, so maybe you can tell me once I read it.
Okay.
Truth. I cannot deny that sometimes I could revisit that scared little girl that lives inside of me, the little girl who's created by abuse, who moves through life with anxiety and indecision, who views herself through the heartless opinions of people who wish her violence. Reverting back to her will allow me to live in fear that keeps me trapped inside my body, so that I could remain silent and my thoughts could sit in peace. Okay, now I just want you guys to know that's just like the first part of the book as soon as you open it, so you know it's going to be juicy and deep. Okay, Danielle.
Wow, that almost took me back to tears when you read that. It takes me to the very beginning of the journey, and when I talked about my inner little girl, I talk about that was the girl that was hurt through abuse, and that's what the book is about.
What kind of abuse are you talking?
Oh my goodness, sexual
Okay.
Sexual abuse, substance abuse,
Okay.
a molestation from family members.
Wow.
And the substance abuse was actually huffing. So when you read that, it took me right back to that place.
Okay. And that's what kind of inspired you to write that?
It was because when I was going through the infertility, those things from my past actually surfaced, because when you're going through infertility, you feel so isolated and depressed, and it took me back to everything that went wrong in my life. It took me to that sad place. So
because you were trying to figure out why, what you
I was
did
trying to figure
wrong,
out what I did wrong,
what happened. Why can't I have a child? So you're beating yourself up. You're beating God up. You're going through the motions because you just don't know why.
I felt entitled. You know, I grew up. My mother's a pastor. I grew up in the church. I was a goody two shoe. I did everything right. I met my husband when I was 16. Married by 21. I followed the book. So I felt like, you know, God, why wouldn't you bless me? Why am I going through all of this? You know, I felt entitled. I felt like this should have this supposed to have happened to me.
I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of women, and I know there are women out there that probably listening, I'm sure you do feel entitled. If you're a woman, the next step is getting married and have kids. And then when you get married, if you don't have kids, they're looking at you like you're crazy. What's wrong with you? Or when are you going to have a baby? I remember when I got married, they ask you that like at the wedding.
Yes.
So it is a lot of pressure to have children when you're a woman.
Yes.
So I get it. Go ahead.
And just being the only child, I always wanted a big family.
Yeah.
So I felt the pressure was on. Was on.
Okay. So just kind of going through just the mental roller coaster, that emotional ride. It brought back all of those
emotions,
horrible things that happened to you. I mean, they are horrible.
Yeah.
So I just want everyone to know about infertility. Like I said, the show is about that. I want to really touch on some things because infertility is not a girly thing. So this show is really not about girls. So guys, that if you tuned in and you're like, man, I don't want to hear that. It's really not, because you have a wife, you have a girlfriend, fiance, you have a mother, a sister, cousin, and so on and so on. You have women in your life. And then also, if you're a married couple trying to have a baby, it's a family issue.
Yes.
And fellas, you know you can be infertile too, right? I'm just saying. I'm going to read some statistics here. So let me get my handy dandy notes. Okay. First of all, what is fertility? Okay. Just something as simple as that. So do you know what infertility is? It's the inability to get pregnant, to conceive after 1 year of unprotected sex. Women do not have a regular menstrual cycle, and 35 and over, usually it's a hard time to conceive. Of course, people under 35 experience this also. It is a common problem. 6% of married women 15 to 14 years of age in the United States are unable to get pregnant after 1 year of unprotected sex. Okay? And is it a woman's problem? No, it's not. Because many couples struggle with infertility and having issues becoming pregnant. And there are a lot of men out there. I just wanted to be specific with the men. Male infertility may be treated with a medical surgical procedure, but it's still a huge problem with men. And it's a huge problem with African American women and men.
Yes.
So I'm sure everybody can think of somebody that's been trying to get pregnant, and they can't. I mean, I can think of, other than you, probably like 5 people without even really thinking about it. So I just want to say to all you ladies that you had no problem getting pregnant, consider that a blessing.
Yes.
Because every woman doesn't have that type of ability to do that. So tell me some of the things that you went through trying to get pregnant, or when did you decide that you wanted to have a baby?
Oh man, I think I knew since I was 10 that I wanted to be a wife and a mother. When I got married, I was 21, and right after, we were together 4 years prior. So I knew that we had a problem because I never felt pregnant before then.
Yeah.
And so right after the wedding, we visited a fertility specialist. And at the time, it was unexplained infertility, meaning just they can't find a big enough problem to really stamp you with a problem. It was a number of things, low sperm count, my diabetes, my weight. It was just a whole lot of things that they told me prevented the pregnancy. So we started out with
now they said because of your weight.
My weight.
Were you overweight?
I was definitely overweight. I was over 100 pounds overweight. Yes.
She lost 100 pounds, y'all. I just thought that was worth mentioning. She looks amazing. Okay. Because I've known Danielle, I just want to say, for many, many years.
Yes.
I met her. I don't want to say how I met you. But I met her many, many years ago. And I said, I've always had this desire to do a show, to tell stories, to see the triumph, to share the testimonies. And I told her years ago, when I'm able to tell you a story, I want to tell it. So when I got this show, I called her. She was the first one I called. I did some things like on YouTube and things like that that didn't pan out, but I said, I really want to tell you a story. So I want to say thank you again for coming, especially on short notice. I greatly appreciate it. But, okay, so did that cause... So how long did you try to have a baby before you realized, hey, something's wrong here? I'm not able to conceive.
Like I said, we were together 4 years.
Okay.
And, unprotected, so I knew that it was a issue. So like I said, right after we got married, I went to the fertility, and they started right away because they knew it was a problem after the initial testing. Okay. We started out with just the pills, the hormone pills, to help me ovulate. That didn't work. Okay. Then we went to artificial insemination.
Okay.
And that's just when...
And that's expensive, right?
Oh, yes.
So insurance doesn't pay for that?
God is good. Insurance did pay for it.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Shout out to them. Okay. Shout out to them. So we
need to be a sponsor of Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm going to point that out. Okay.
And Cigna.
Right, and Cigna. Okay.
Yeah. So then we did the artificial insemination.
Okay.
We did that for about 4 rounds, and then we went to the IVF.
Okay.
And any woman who have been through that is a strenuous emotional roller coaster.
Okay, let me explain what IVF is, because I've been doing my homework, y'all. IVF is in vitro fertilization. Yes. It's a process which the egg is fertilized by the sperm outside of the body. Yeah. So when you hear people say test tube babies and things like that, and that joke back in the day with Robin Harris, yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure everyone know, because I know people hear IVF.
Right, and
you
they don't
see
know.
the different people struggling with that, but you don't really know what it is. No. But go ahead.
We're talking about hormone shots in the booty every day. We're talking about mood swings because of the hormones, and we're talking about doctor's appointments for 2 weeks straight. Every morning, same time, checking your ovaries, checking your egg developments. It's very involved and invasive. And
so did you ever think that you weren't sure if were you clear who had the problem? Were you clear that it was you and not your husband, or did you have to go through tests to find that out, or you were sure it was you?
Well, at first they thought it was me.
Okay.
And then it turned out he was some of the problem too.
Okay. You hear that, men?
Yes.
Okay. So some of the soldiers may not swim to the final destination. So it's not just it's not just a girly problem. I know it's not manly. All the men like, ain't nothing wrong with mine, but it may be. So don't automatically blame the woman and think, okay, maybe something's wrong. She can't get pregnant. You both, as a couple, need to get checked out. If like I said earlier, if you've been having unprotected sex for over a year and nothing. So that is a kind of a clue that something may be wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long did you go through this process?
About 7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
So 7 years, nothing. So you've been going to the doctor as much as you said you had.
Yes.
You've been going to specialists.
Yes.
You've been getting checked out. Your husband's been getting checked out. So what were the doctors saying within the 7 years? And why didn't you just say, forget it, I don't need babies?
Wow. The doctors were telling me it was unexplained infertility. And like I said, that's when they cannot find something huge to put a stamp on what's
like
really
an
the issue.
endometriosis or
Right,
something
right,
like that,
right.
scarring. And
I would be lying if I said that in some points of the journey I didn't want to give up.
okay.
But I remember the journey I had. My mom took me to a church service when I was around 10, and the woman prophesied over me. My mom was not big on letting people put their hands on me and stuff like that. But
Not on the babies.
That's right. But she allowed this woman to.
Okay.
And the woman told my mom that, you know, I'll be a mother, I will be a millionaire, and I remember that day clear as day. I remember the promises that she told my mother and I that I would have. And I held on to that. Going through the infertility, my faith was so radical. Even when the doctors told me it's no way, you should just give up.
You knew that you were destined to be a mother.
I knew the promises.
You didn't know when. You didn't care when.
No.
Okay.
I would not give up. And that's what I think radical faith is all about. It's believing when it's nothing there.
Right.
So I just used my faith, and I would not give up.
Okay. I just want to talk about African American women and infertility. Infertility among African American women is not only silent and a silent and hidden problem in the African American community, but it continues to rise. So a lot of people don't want to, if they can't have children, they just deal with that in silence.
Right.
According to Dr. Desiree McCarthy Keith of they said reproductive endocrinologist at Georgia Reproductive Specialist, research shows that among 7.3 million women in the United States, approximately 11.5% of African American women experience a variety of infertility problems compared to 7% of white women. So I know a lot of people watch TV. A lot of people can relate things when you're talking about stars and people on TV experiencing infertility. So some of the celebrity black women celebrities, Tamar Braxton. I know if you watch Braxton's Family Values, she talked about it for years. She tried to get pregnant. She was well over 30, and she couldn't have a baby, and she finally had one. Another is Aisha Tyler. If anyone listens to or watches The Talk, and she's a comedian, she's been trying for years to have a baby, and she's having issues too. I mean, that can go on and on. Dawn Robinson from En Vogue. I don't know if anyone saw R&B Divas when she was looking at the other castmates with children, and she just really wanted a baby. We can go on to Sherry Shepherd, formerly of The View, Mariah Carey. You heard kind of some of the things that she was going to. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Valerie Pettiford, but she's been around for a long time. Those of you that used to watch Half and Half, Big Dee Dee, she was in Jump in the Broom, and she was singing the Marvin Gaye song. Her,
she was the birth mother.
Right? She was the birth. How about that? When you think about that, she was the birth mother, and I believe she's in her 50s, and she still hasn't had a baby.
Yep, she has
so I know you guys don't know Danielle, but you're learning who she is now, and there are a lot of people that are suffering from this issue. So I have to ask you, as a married woman, you were married, you're going through this with your husband. Was there, you know where I'm going with this, was there any kind of strife, issues, maybe him wanting you to just forget about it after he's seen what you went through, or was he just as eager as you were to have a baby?
He was just as eager. Okay. I think our problems came in with when it wasn't happening and the anger got in.
On whose part?
Probably mine.
Okay.
I mean, I was very angry.
Okay.
I think a lot of our strife came from just not knowing how to deal with the grief.
Okay.
You know, because when you deal with infertility, it's grieving something.
Yeah.
You know, and the miscarriages, you're grieving a loss.
How many miscarriages did you have?
5 miscarriages.
You gotta be kidding me.
5 miscarriages.
Ladies, the women that are mothers out there, the mothers that you know, consider yourself blessed. This lady here, she had 5 miscarriages. So imagine what that does to you emotionally. Like emotionally, what did you go through?
My emotions was on the floor.
I'm sure.
It was on the floor. And like I said, we lashed out at each other. It was a lot of arguments. It was a lot of, calling, crying to my mom and my friends. He's not supportive. He don't understand. We couldn't understand each other's grief. And because
both of you were grieving.
We both were
This
grieving.
was a family decision that you wanted to have children. when you got married, you knew you wanted to have a family.
And like you said, who do you blame?
Right.
So we had each other, so we blamed one another.
And you tend to take it out on the person that's closest to you anyway.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward just a little bit.
Okay.
So you decided, so after 7 years, now you're at that 7-year mark, and you're determining or kind of going back and forth. Do I want to continue or do I just want to forget it? Although you have it in the back of your mind when you were that it's going to happen. You had the faith. You were told that it was going to happen for you. So you just wanted to continue, or did you pause for a minute?
It got to the point I had to pause.
Okay.
Even though I believed in my heart that it was going to happen.
Okay.
Like I said, the emotion of it, it had me depleted. So I had to stop my last IVF. Between my third and my fourth IVF, I took a break.
Okay.
And at that time, I got into counseling. I got into therapy.
Okay. And what did you discover in therapy?
Boy. I think the main thing I learned in therapy was...
Now, did you go, I just want to make it clear, did you go for the infertility issues, for the issues that you and your husband were going through?
Initially, I did.
Okay, so initially it was the marital strife.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so what did you discover?
So, while I was in therapy, that's when the childhood issues with the abuse came up.
Interesting.
That's when it came up, and I had to address.
So how did they come up in the
therapy session?
Yeah, in the therapy session when you're there for marital issues. How did it come about?
I had made a comment about feeling isolated.
Okay.
And like I wanted to withdraw.
Okay. From your husband?
Everyone.
Okay.
Any and everyone. And I told the therapist that I didn't feel safe. And so she had said something to me about, you have this intense need to feel safe, and I wonder why. And that's when I said something about the abuse.
So did your husband know at that point, or did he find out along with the counselor?
No, he knew.
Okay.
He knew.
Okay.
He knew. So when she said that, and she discovered that I had this intense need to feel safe, and we digged into it, so that's when, I told her about the abuse. And she connected that situation with my need to feel safe.
Because you were violated as a child, and you didn't feel safe.
I did not
which
feel
is
safe.
Understandable.
Right.
So when you got to that, did you actively have this on your mind as you were growing up, or is it something that you pushed way back and then the counseling kind of brought it out?
Something that I pushed way back.
Okay.
And like I said, with the substance abuse, that was numbing for me.
Okay.
So
this was all happening as you were trying to conceive. So you were depressed.
I was depressed, of course. So with the substance abuse came along with the numbing. So I didn't have to think about the things that happened to me in my childhood.
Okay.
Not only the abuse, but the teasing, the bullying in school, the huffing just numbed all of that for me. So that was my outlet. So I did not have to deal with.
So what were you bullied about?
Oh my goodness! Being a tall, big girl, big nose, dark skin.
So being a beautiful black woman,
being
pretty
a beautiful
much.
Black woman.
Okay. So all these childhood issues.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked you about bullying, because as I was driving here today, I was listening to the radio, and a 13-year-old committed suicide. So I just really wanted to touch on that. It really, you're still here.
Yeah.
But I'm sure those scars and that pain
never goes
have
away.
walked with you through your adulthood.
Yeah.
So what else did you discover or rediscover, I should say, in counseling?
Self-worth.
Okay.
I had to learn self-worth.
So you had low self-esteem?
Oh yeah.
That was brought on by other people, probably.
And I think that was one of the biggest things that I learned, was just how to love myself, how to self-love and self-nurture, not to live for anyone or please people. So that was one of the biggest lessons I learned through therapy.
And that's a huge
feeling worthy
lesson
enough to know that I'm I don't have to damage myself. I can feel the pain, I can get through it, and I can allow the pain to be my motivation, and that's what I did.
But do you see the beauty in that?
I do.
Because I mean, this is how, I mean, it gave me the chills, because this is how God works. This is how life works. Yeah. She went to counseling because she was having marital issues. Then she rediscovered and undiscovered and uncovered all the issues that she went through childhood. Yeah. Then through that, she learned to love herself. She learned to know her worth, to accept who she is as a person. Had you not been going through infertility,
I would not.
You would not. You might be running around here half crazy.
Yes, getting a nose job.
Right, you might, right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That, I mean, that's how it works. It was not time for her to have a child yet. She had to be able to love herself, to embrace herself, to own who you were. Because you can't be raising children if you don't even know who you are, and you still got all kind of issues. Amen. But that's how God does it. It was still for you, but not at that time. Not at that time. Because if you probably wouldn't have gone to counseling.
I would not have.
No. Because you know black folk don't go to counseling. That's what people think, but that's not true. They like, girl, go to church.
Yes.
Go to, you got to seek God. I'm a firm believer of that, but there's nothing wrong with counseling. If that's going to make you a better person, if that's going to help you rediscover who you are. And like I said, I'm a life coach. I'm all for seeking some type of guidance and some type of assistance. So through that, you learn to love yourself, to learn to accept your nose. I'm so glad you didn't get a nose job. I mean, I love African American features. I'm just saying, I got full lips. My nose is not slim. It's not contoured down the middle, and I'm happy with it. But always, it's when you're seeing the media and seeing people, everyone is, I don't want to say whitewash, but everyone, if you're more European looking, then you're more beautiful. But now what's happening to all the Europeans? They're pumping their lips. They're, you know what I'm saying? They're injecting their booties. They sit in the sun for X amount of hours, spray tanning, laying in a coffin. You know what I'm saying? To try to get like us. But I say when people hate themselves and they don't understand themselves, then they ridicule someone that looks like them. And I'm sure it was little black children ridiculing you. So as you're going through that journey through counseling, were there any other discoveries, self-discoveries that had nothing to do with your husband or your relationship?
She said, and I put this in my book, I think it's the 3rd chapter, Words to Live By.
Okay.
I was in a therapy session. She had said, what are you going to do if you never become a mother? And of course, I asked myself that question in my head over and over, but for her to ask me and make me verbalize it, I was afraid.
Because it becomes real.
It becomes real. And I was afraid to say it. So she asked me about 3 times, and I sat there quietly, and then the tears started rolling, and I was crying like someone died. And I was
because someone did die, the old you.
The old me. And I sat there in silence and crying, thinking she would take pity on me and not make me answer the question, but she would not let me go. And I'm pacing back and forth in my head, like, please just let me go, let me free. But she asked again, she said, Danielle, I need you to tell me, what are you going to do if you don't become a mother? And I said...
That was $1 million question.
It was. And then I said, to live. And I can't explain the feeling that I felt like
you were freed. You were free.
Like something just lifts off of me. And I realized I'm going to have to live. No matter what happens, if I never become a mother, I have to live. I have to find my purpose in life.
So what happened after you decided to live? So how was it when you got back to the house? When you got back home, because your husband was there through all of this.
Not through all
through
the
some
sessions,
of it.
through some of them, not all of them. That day I was by myself,
which
was a good thing. Things definitely got better at home after,
with the relationship with you and your husband?
Yes. Okay. And just it helped me to better cope so I can just continue the journey. I think I took another 4 months off as far as IVF cycles before I started again. And then I started my last cycle 4 months later.
And you said something about in the book that like the whole process financially drained you.
Financially, emotionally.
You
mentally.
said maybe I'm crazy to drain my finances, time, and my emotional well-being. Well, maybe God just doesn't want me to reproduce my husband's seed. So you were starting to question
My marriage.
maybe you married the wrong person. That's why
Yes.
you can't have a baby.
Yes.
And you verbalized that to your husband.
Yeah.
I'm sure he read the book.
Yes.
So that has to be difficult when you're like in that position. You're already married. You've been dating your husband forever. And now you can't.
Right.
So after you decided to live and after you said if you have a baby or you don't, what happened after that?
I just threw myself into blogging. I started my blog. So I started to write more. I started to
Okay. Shout out your blog. Let everybody know what your blog.
poeticphilosophy.com.
Okay.
Yes. I started to blog. I started to write poetry, short stories, whatever. And that was my therapy through everything.
Writing is therapy. I write too. Yeah. So did you decide? I'm trying to figure. So did you have a baby? Did you ever think about adoption? Did you ever think about being a foster parent? Did you just want the need to have kids in your life, for kids to be in your home?
After that experience, I was opposed to adoption before that experience.
So you wanted to have, and a lot of women feel this way. I want to have my own.
I want this experience
because I've heard women say you're not a real woman until you give birth.
Yeah.
I think God made you a woman before you gave birth.
Yeah.
And of course, women reproduce,
Yes.
we give birth. But did you feel that way?
I definitely did. Like I said, before that experience with the therapy, I was opposed to it. I did not want to adopt because I felt like I was giving up on my dream.
So you felt if you adopted, then you were accepting the fact that you may never birth children.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened?
So after that experience, we decided to do foster care.
Okay.
We did want to do adoption, but as you know, adoption.
Shout out to all the foster parents out there taking care of the kids.
Yes.
Taking care of the kids. I make that clear because some foster parents are a whole nother ball game. But go ahead.
Adoption is so expensive. So we knew we could not afford adoption. The average adoption is between $10,000 to $20,000. That's domestic. That's in state. That's in state.
So if you want to adopt a child in Maryland, is how much?
Between $10,000 to $20,000.
Wow.
And we cannot afford that at all.
And some people having children that they're not even taking care of, and multiple children, and they're just running around unkept, unfed, unloved. Doesn't that, I know that had to, I know that.
I'll put that in the book.
I could have kids, but that bird, I felt something inside of me when I said that.
I put that in my book.
So you would look at other people.
Yes. You know, no shame to the mothers on welfare, nothing like that. But I felt like you have women out here on welfare, not taking care of their kids, using it as a crutch, an excuse just to get money. And
to get more welfare,
and get money,
more child support.
And not taking care of their kids. So I was definitely mad. Like, God, you will let a junkie on the street have a baby, and you would not let a decent, God-fearing woman have a baby.
Because you look at that woman like they can't be ready to have kids, so
At
why
all.
am I not
At
right?
all.
So did you feel some type of way when you were around women with children? Like
yes.
if you seen someone with their child?
I couldn't, at the time, all of my cousins were having children. I wanted to miss baby showers. I was not involved in their pregnancies. I missed a lot of family functions and just being close to my family because I could not watch a woman have a baby. I couldn't watch the belly grow, and I didn't want to do any of that.
That must be. That must be really.
It was,
So you decided. So even after all of that, you decided to be a foster parent,
right?
So you and your husband agreed upon
together.
Okay.
To do that. Because we initially tried, but like I said, I just stopped the process. I didn't want to give up on my own dreams. So anyway, after that, we did go and we went through the process, and it took us about, I want to say 4 months to go through the paperwork and the home studies and everything. But when I tell you everything was ordained by God, the woman told me that this process would take, because I was hell-bent on, I wanted an infant. I said, Lord, if I can't birth no babies, at least give me an infant.
I want to look like I did.
I
don't want no 13-year-old
right.
walking talking about this is my baby.
That's right.
Right.
So
You wanted an infant.
I wanted an infant. And the lady was saying, no. She was like, you're going to wait for about 2 years if you want an infant. And I wanted a baby girl. Because when I was 18, I had a dream that I had this baby girl, the complexion of my husband, and she had this bushy ponytail. And that's when I actually started my hope chest, when I had that dream of this little girl.
You want to explain your hope chest?
Yes, my hope chest, it was just a tote from Walmart, okay? A big tote from Walmart. And I would go to the clearance rack, okay? And I would just get any baby girl thing that I seen that was, inexpensive.
So you had a baby hope chest.
I did. And I would just throw it in a hope chest, close it, Pampers, whatever you name it. I had it in my hope chest. And so when we were going through it, and she was like, and I wanted a little girl and an infant. She was like, you're going to be waiting for long, honey. Why don't you try?
This is what the agency told you.
Yes, this is what the agent said, the foster care agent.
Okay.
She said, you need to do male 2 to 5. I'm like, 2 to 5?
So you're saying they don't want black little boys, a lot of young black?
Yes.
Okay.
They actually call them 504. They're high risk, drug exposed. They try to get rid of them. That's basically
young black boys.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. That just okay. Did you guys hear that? She said black boys, young children from 2 to 5, they're labeled as 504, meaning they're basically hard to get rid of. Yes. I just watched an episode of Different World. I don't know if anybody, shout out to a Different World fans. I was just watching that episode because it was my favorite show on Netflix. I'm like watching it over and over again. But they had that, I don't know if you remember the episode where they were trying to adopt the young boy and nobody wanted him and he got all dressed up and he kept going to the adoption fairs. That just reminded me of that. And he was, a young boy and nobody wanted him. So, but you didn't even want him because you wanted a girl. That's a shame. That's a shame. She didn't even want the little boy. I'll take y'all. I'll take y'all. Tag Danielle.
I wanted that girl.
Okay.
I wanted that girl.
You wanted to do their hair, dress her up. I have 2 daughters. Shout out to Aaliyah and Amara. I have 2 daughters, so I get that. I get that. But I didn't want a boy though. I would have took the boy. Okay.
So I still didn't let up. I told her that's what I want. That's what I want. She said like 2 years. I said, look, I didn't waited 7 years. I can wait another 2 years. It's fine.
Because you were like, I want my baby girl in any way that I can get her.
Yes.
Okay.
And, the process was over. Like I said, it took about 4 months.
Okay.
And everything was over. We had to do the home study. And like I said, this is just how ordained this was.
About to give me the chills. I could feel it. Okay.
The counselor came to the house. My husband was upstairs at the time, so I let him in. Okay. And we're talking. He told me what he's gonna do and whatever. My husband comes downstairs, and all I hear was, "Dion, is that you?" And I'm like, "You know this dude?" So he grew up. This was his father's friend. So this man knew Dion growing up. So
who's Dion?
My husband.
Okay. I just wanted people to know. You're like, who's Dion?
The man was like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" So we had a small chat or whatever, and the home study went smooth. Not to say he gave us any special.
He could have sent anybody. Anybody could have came to the home visit.
He did.
Won't he do it?
So he checked something on the water pressure and it was too high. And he said, Dion, he showed him how to do it. And he said, I need you to touch it. I can't touch it. So I need you to do it. And he did it because he said this could have held everything up, stopped the process of denial. So that happened and he left. I get a call 2 months later. Remember, she told me it was going to take 2 years. 2 months later, I get a call. And she said, well, I don't have your daughter, but I do have your son. And he'll be there Friday.
How old was he?
He was 6 months.
Oh.
And let me tell you.
So still an infant. Now, you can't be picky with your prayers now.
Right.
You want an infant and a little girl.
And a little girl. But talking about the hope chest. Now, months prior, I was in Ross checking out, stalking the baby section at Ross, okay? And something told me clear as day, get boy things. 6 to 9 months. Clear
something told you clear as day. So
Lord,
what you think? Okay, I was going to say, what you think that something was? We know.
6 to 9 months. And I said, I don't want this. No, what you mean?
I don't want no blue. I don't want blue.
No. Yeah, I want my girl stuff. I was obedient.
Right.
I got the boy stuff for a couple of months. I was getting all that stuff.
So the hope chest has some boy. Okay.
Had some boy stuff. Right. So when she called me, it was on a Wednesday. She told me that my son would be there on a Friday. And
Wednesday. That's almost like how I got this show.
Right. It was ordained. changed.
They told me Monday, and today is Friday. Hello, I have conversations with Kendell Lenice.
Amen.
That's all. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Girl.
Won't he do
Okay.
it? So,
you got, but the thing is, and like I always say, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yes.
When you're preparing for something for your life, you want something for your life, you are ready to go. When they called me and said, you want to do it Friday? I wasn't going to say, oh, okay, next Friday, Friday after next. I was like, okay, because I've been preparing myself to do a radio show.
We're here.
I've been preparing for my first guest to be Danielle Kinsey. So it all comes together. I mean, I just got to chill because it's so true. So your boy arrives to your house. They drop you. They told you Wednesday, and on Friday they drop him off like, here's your bundle of joy.
Right before the snowstorm. I don't know if you remember the snowstorm of 2010.
Oh yes, I think everybody. If you were in Baltimore, you remember that.
Yeah. So she's like, I gotta get them there.
I was
before
walking
that snow.
everywhere. Trucking through.
So my boy came 2 days later, and when he got there, I had all the stuff. I had all the clothes, diapers.
You were prepared.
I was prepared.
Preparation.
Yes, I was prepared.
So, how old is your son now?
My son will be 6.
6. So he's within that age, that 2 to 5, that nobody wants. Pretty much around that age.
But when I got him, he was 6 months.
Okay, right. But I'm just saying now.
Yeah.
So the way you love him and how he is, can you imagine someone saying, I don't want him?
No.
You know what I mean? Okay, so now your family was complete. You got what you wanted. You and your husband. Did you stop having issues?
We didn't. I had one more in vitro.
Okay.
And
so you still had that desire to birth your child, or
well, I knew I had that one more in vitro.
Okay. What does that mean? It was sitting in, I don't want to say freezer, but sitting, waiting for you to use it?
Yeah, because you get like about 3 to 4 cycles.
Okay.
Depending on how the insurance run, and I had that one more left.
Got you. Okay.
So that's what it was.
Okay.
So yeah, after he came, I had that one more left, and I told my husband, I said, you know what? I felt like we were going into this IVF differently because we had my son, I had my little family, and I said, you know what? It doesn't even matter what happens. It really doesn't. I feel like we have our family, even though the adoption was not finalized. I just knew that God will work it out to where it would be finalized.
Wow.
So, that radical faith again, because that situation was crazy too.
Wow.
I spent 3 years fighting, making sure that he could stay in my home and that he could stay with us.
Because it's not, because you were a foster parent and you were trying to transition into permanent parenthood,
in the state of Maryland, they're big on reuniting the child with their biological family. So the first year we had him, we did not hear from her. The second year, that's when the biological mother stepped in and she made it hell for us the next 3 years.
I've heard that story.
So we were fighting to keep him.
And she wanted him back, or she just didn't want anyone else to have him, because that's a difference.
She wanted him back.
Okay.
And, she even tried to get her family on board to help her because obviously, she wasn't in a position where she could care for him. So she was trying to get her family to get him.
So
going to the last IVF.
Okay.
Like I said, I went in it with another attitude. I had my son and, I had a certain piece. However it fell, I would be okay with it.
Okay.
So that was the difference going through that last one. So
the adoption was finalized?
It was not. No.
Okay.
That was the beginning of the fight.
Okay. So you fought to adopt him, and then you finally adopted him?
3 years later.
So 3 years later.
But that last IVF was only months after he came.
Okay. So did anything happen out of that IVF?
No. Oh, yes. That last IVF, I was pregnant.
You were pregnant. She was pregnant, y'all.
Yes.
So she's been trying for 7 years. Let me just recap for those of you who missed it. She's been trying for 7 years to get pregnant. She couldn't get pregnant. She didn't give up hope. So she said, okay, I do want a baby, so let's try, let's be foster parents.
Yes.
So then eventually from foster parent to adoptive parent, 3 years later.
3 years later.
So 3 years later, you adopt your child, but you had the IVF after you adopted or
he was
right before? Still foster
No,
child?
he was still foster. I
Okay.
got my son that February. We did the IVF, I believe, in April. So
Okay.
we only had him for months when we did that last.
Okay, so you got pregnant.
I got pregnant.
All right, I'm about to pray. Did you have a miscarriage?
I didn't.
She didn't have a miscarriage. So 6 was the charm.
It was.
So you went full term?
No.
Okay.
No. And that story was full of drama. When I
told y'all she got stories, girl. They're layers, guys.
When I found out we was pregnant with her,
okay,
my numbers were not normal. My HGC numbers. When we went to take
HGC for someone that might be going through this.
Yes, it's just your hormone levels just to tell you if you're pregnant or not.
Okay.
So when I did the first pregnancy test, I was pregnant.
Okay.
I did the second one. Your numbers are supposed to double.
Okay.
Mine did not double.
Okay.
They told me this probably isn't a viable pregnancy. Let's just see how it goes.
Okay.
Couple weeks later, we do it again. My numbers were not doubling. They were going up, but they were not
you were
doubling.
still pregnant.
I was still pregnant.
Okay.
I started to spot and bleed. So at the time, we believed we were having a miscarriage.
That must have been devastating mentally.
It
when
was.
you at least conceived now.
Yes.
And you were holding on to it.
Went
further than
than
the
my
other
regular
one.
miscarriages. So
okay.
I had hope with
okay.
this one. So when the bleeding started, of course, it was a blow. I definitely felt like it was over. And so the doctor, he was our doctor for years, so we were like family. We had a great rapport. So he said, look, kid, let's just go take an ultrasound, see what we see, and if we don't see anything, you know what we have to do. I said, okay. Went to go get the ultrasound, and it was an empty sac. I'm just going to try to find the picture so you guys can see the picture. It was an empty sac. No heartbeat, nothing.
But you were still pregnant?
The numbers kept going up.
But they see nothing.
Nothing. And I had about 2 more ultrasounds after that. They wanted to do something called a twilight abortion. Called my mom, devastated. I said, Mom, I don't know if I'm going crazy. I don't know if I just want to hold on to this because I feel like, I've just been going through it so long. It might be my baby, or am I being selfish? I don't know what to do. And but I said, Mom, I feel something. Because if it was a
even though they saw nothing.
They saw nothing. I seen nothing.
But you thought that you were still pregnant.
Yes, the numbers kept going
so
up,
you
and
thought
in
you
my
were going
heart,
crazy.
I thought, at one point I thought I was going crazy.
Okay, so go ahead.
So I called my mom and I said, Mom, I just don't know what to do. She said, what is God telling you to do? I said, Mom, He's telling me to hold on. And my mom said, that's what you do, baby. You hold on. And that's what I did. And
see, moms will tell you. Because if your mom said, no, baby, I think you're going crazy. You might have kind of. But see, that's the moms are always the voice of reason.
The doctors, I stopped answering the phone calls for the fertility doctors because they wanted me to. Yeah, they wanted me to do that.
So you were pretty much not pregnant. The numbers were saying, but they pretty much saw nothing. Yeah. You saw nothing in there. So fast forward, how long did you hold on until?
It had to be almost 8 weeks later. I got sick. Something was wrong with my throat, and my husband took me to the emergency room, and the woman was like, you're pregnant, and I was like, oh my God.
And she saw something.
No, we were just.
Oh, I was getting excited. Okay.
And mind you, I stopped answering the doctors for my fertility doctors. So I would not go back in for ultrasound or test because they just wanted me to get rid of it. That it was over, and so I go to the emergency room for my throat. Something was happening with my throat. I was in so much pain. And the lady was like, I took your blood and you're pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, the doctor did want me to do that trial. Like, maybe I'm sick now. And I didn't empty the tissue out. Now I'm
that's
sick.
Like a DNC almost, kind of. Okay.
Yes, and I'm sick now. And so she said, you need to check with your your doctor, your OBGYN. And she said, you can do that Monday. And I said, okay. I act like I didn't know anything about me going through the treatment.
Like you didn't even know you were pregnant. Like, oh, like, really? Yeah. Right.
So I called my OB. She didn't even know I was on the treatment. So I just called her and said, I had a positive pregnancy test, and I just want to come in and see what's going on. Took a blood test. My numbers were 30,000, okay? My numbers were never that
So
high.
You were for sure pregnant.
Right.
So they did ultrasound and
not yet.
Okay.
She knew my past with the miscarriages, so she said, I'm going to bring you back in 2 days to redo the blood test. And if your numbers double, we're good.
Okay.
Came back in, my numbers were 33,000. They didn't double. They went from 30 to 33. She said, but that's not good.
That's not good? Oh, because they didn't double. Oh, they went from 30 to 33 and not 60 to, okay, gotcha.
She said, this is not valuable. She said, well, your numbers are so high, I still need to do an ultrasound because I need to see what's in there so I know how we need to get rid of everything. If we need to, can we use pills? Is it just going to come out? We need to do a DNC. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay. So she scheduled the ultrasound for maybe a day or two later. I went by myself, you know. At that point, my husband was working, and I think my mom had the baby. I didn't want to stress anyone out. I'm like, I'll just go deal with it by myself. Okay. I'm fine. No matter what happened, it's fine. Okay. So I'm at the doctor's office. I get up on the table, put my feet in the stirrups. Girl, I was used to that by now. Jump right on the table.
Doing that in your sleep. Okay.
And the very moment that she put the gel on my belly, I got scared. I was not scared before I went to that doctor's office. I got nervous. I was like, so I shut my eyes.
Okay.
I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm gonna see. I started praying. So my eyes are shut. The next sound I heard was boom, 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 boom.
You heard the heartbeat.
Boom, boom. I opened my eyes so fast, and I see my daughter flipping.
Oh, my gosh.
They told...
The last time you got me getting ready, I could see your eyes filling up.
At that time, I was 12.
So this is still, they saw nothing. Nothing was in there.
Right,
and then now all of a sudden...
They say nothing. So fast forward 12 weeks later, because I was a day out of my first trimester. I was about to be 13 weeks. The next day, I seen my baby girl flipping. And
go ahead.
And I went back to the conversation I had with my mother when she said, you trust God and you trust yourself. And I trust God and I trust myself. And if I did not do that, I would have had that twilight abortion.
To those doctors.
And that baby would have been gone. And today, that miracle baby she will be 5 this year.
She was how old?
She'll be 5 this year.
And what's her name?
Her name is Destiny. That's why the book is called Journey to Destiny.
Journey to Destiny. So now, what does the composition of your family look like?
Oh, my God.
Did you have any more babies?
I did. I got pregnant naturally, y'all. The old-fashioned way. On my back, y'all.
So how many children you have
3,
now?
And we're done.
So you have I don't even want to say adopted son. You have your son.
I had my son.
And you have your daughter, Destiny.
My daughter and my daughter, Tyler.
And so how old is Tyler?
Tyler is 11 months in a couple days.
She just had a baby.
I did.
So when did you start this motherhood journey? What year was that? I just want to bring it on home to 2015.
Well, I have to say when I first got married, just because I started
and
my
what year was that? You said
2005.
So 10 years.
10 years.
So 10 years, you have 3 children.
I have 3 children.
2 you had naturally.
No.
Well, in vitro, the second adoption, in vitro, natural.
Yes. And I have a little joke.
Me and
my mom say I have 3 the hard way.
3 the hard way.
Adoption.
I love it. 3 the hard. So you had a little taste. See, I'm kind of. I don't want to say jealous. You had a whole little.
Yes.
You had adoption, in vitro, and intercourse, the regular way, the intercourse. Yeah. You had that. Mm-hmm. Well, that is outstanding. Yes. So how you like being a mama? Shout out to all my mamas. Yes. I love being a mother. So
it's my best job yet. It's the sweetest part of me. It's the part of me that beautiful. I'm most proud of.
And I now that gives me a chill. You talk about children, talk about my children. Anybody know that follows me? Shout out to my Facebook family. Anybody that knows me knows I love my kids. Yes, I have a 22-year-old and I have a 16-year-old. And y'all probably sick of seeing pictures of my babies. They did this, they did that. No matter what, they'll always be my babies. Love. And that mother's love is just something that's priceless. Yes. It's priceless. You can't put any dollar amount on that. You can't. If someone said, I'll give you $2 million today if you can get rid of your kids today. That's a no-brainer to any parent out there. And shout out to all my dads. And shout out to my men that have been dealing with their wives going through this process. It's not easy. A lot of husbands, I'm sure your husband had an issue just seeing their wives go through so much and just through you know their body traumatically altering your body, altering
Yes.
your mood,
Yes.
the moods, the shots, all of that. So shout out to all my dads. Shout out to all the men
Yes. Shout
that
out
are
to
dealing
Dion.
with infertility issues. She
Yes.
said, shout out to Dion.
Yes.
Hey, Dion, I ain't seen you
Yes.
in years. How you doing? Shout out to all the supportive men.
Oh, yeah.
The supportive men that go to all the counseling
All the
sessions,
appointments.
all the doctor's appointments.
Yes.
They're
Put the
holding your
the
hand.
needles in the booty.
They're fussing you
Yeah.
out,
Mhm.
not
All of
mad
that.
at you, all of
Yes.
that, all the above, because that's an emotional roller coaster. And I
Yes.
don't want to forget my fellas, because some of you go through it. I just want to make that clear, because a lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize that, and that they're your support system when
Yes.
you're going through
Yes.
that. Now, would you be able to go through that if you weren't with your husband?
Would I be able to
Yeah,
go to
I
do
mean,
it?
through the agony of it, not through the intercourse, because I know you do need him for that. But
know
I'm
what?
saying through that, because that's a difficult
Yeah.
thing to go
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
And I would think that it's easier to go through with a partner
Yeah, he was definitely a vital piece to it, but I do have to say,
in more ways than one.
yeah. But I do have to give a lot of credit to that woman that's sitting in the studio.
Her
with us.
mom's here,
Yeah.
y'all. Beautiful lady. And I mean, if you didn't tell her to go ahead and go with what her heart is telling her to do and what she knows God is telling her to do, you might not have your grandbaby. Won't he do it?
Yeah.
I know people say that all the time joking, won't he do it? But won't he? Like,
He would
I
do it.
mean, you can't make this stuff up.
You cannot.
You can't go through life thinking that nobody has your back or no one is guiding you
Yes.
through this journey called life.
Yeah.
People think if they don't get to their destination when they think they should get to their destination, then it's not for him.
Right.
For them. Kirk Franklin says it's a delay, but
not
not
a
a
denial.
denial. I
That's
mean, I
right.
know that's it. It's
right.
not. It's a delay.
A delay.
You have to be prepared. You can't be having no babies not loving yourself.
That's right.
You can't have.
That's
How you
right.
gonna raise a daughter to love herself if you don't, as a mother, love herself?
Yes.
So you had to be ready,
Yes.
because a lot of times we think we're ready and we ain't ready.
Yeah.
We're not ready. So just I mean, that's just a powerful testimony and story. And I mean, I think a part 2 is in the midst, because she's going through even more than that, y'all. You just don't know.
is.
This is a soldier standing here, and this is a shining star, I like to say. I truly do. So tell them, Danielle, how they can reach you, social media platforms.
Yes. On Facebook, I'm Danielle Kinsey. On Instagram, I'm Poet Kinsey. On Twitter, I am Poet Kinsey.
Okay, and I'm Kendell Lenice, and you can reach me through livingtruelivingyou.com. That's my website for life coaching, speaking, and all of that jazz. Also on Twitter at I always mix up with that, like I'm an old lady. LTLY.com on Twitter, and then Facebook, Living True, Living You / life coaching. And also I can be reached as Kendell Lenice on Facebook. And I also have a YouTube channel, the Yup series, Your Underestimated Power. So check me out on YouTube, and that's under Kendell Lenice.
Yes.
So Danielle, I just really, really want to extend the biggest thank you and the biggest hug to you.
Oh.
I really do. I thank you so much for being my very first guest on my very first radio show. This is so awesome.
I'm so grateful to you.
Thank
for
you.
believing in the story and just believing in me. You were always a big supporter of what I did, and I just appreciate you kept your word. You always told me that I would be the first guest, and it came to fruition.
And I didn't even have
tonight.
no show, y'all.
Right.
I ain't have nothing talking about. I'm going to tell you a story.
That's that radical faith.
Yes,
Yeah.
I felt it, and I just remember this was at least 5-6 years ago,
yes.
maybe longer. And I remember her telling my story, and she gave me her book. This is the book. Tell them where they can get the book.
Yes, you can get the book. You can go to my blog, which is www.poeticphilosophy.com. I have a little Amazon link on the blog. You just hit that. Go ahead, buy that book.
Yep.
And the Kindle edition is only $3.99. You can get it at iuniverse.com, barnesandnobles.com. Just Google me, baby. Danielle Kinsey.
Google me, hey. But I'm going to tell you like she told me when I first met her, and you probably don't even remember.
Right.
You said, I'm going to bless you with, I'll never forget your words. You said, I'm going to bless you with this book, and if you know someone that's going through infertility issues, please pass my book along.
Yes,
so she gave me this free. I just remember your words, and I just remember she was in my office, and I just remember like tearing up because I do counseling and different types of counseling, and I hear it all in there. And I really thank you for writing this book, and hopefully this can bless someone along with the show. I do thank you for your conversation, and you have been phenomenal. So I really thank you. And I just want to close by saying, I wrote it down, everyone's story deserves to be heard. It's not about privacy, it's about transparency. Yeah. Sharing your story can make a difference in your life and the life of others. My number one goal is to inspire, uplift, encourage everyone, you all. Hopefully we've done just that with our first episode or first show, radio show. People are like, is it a radio show? Because then I can see you. So how was it on the radio? And so my first radio show, Conversations with Kendell Lenice, Trials, Testimonies, and Triumphs. And I thank everyone for joining Conversations. I would like to thank LaToya, and I would like to thank Diamond K. They're in the studio now, editing, making all the arrangements, making you guys able to see us today. So I'm so happy. I wrote a post. I'm about to cry. I'm
crying here.
I'm very happy, and I'm very grateful. I really am, because I went to school. I'm old. I'll be 44 next month, and I'm gonna read. Just a friend of mine sent me this text today, and it really touched me. And they probably don't even know that it touched me like this. Hopefully I can find it real quick. But it really touched me. It says, "Good luck to you, Kendell. I know you will kill them. I'm happy to see that even at our age, you had the faith and the confidence in yourself to do something new. That's boss status. I'm proud of you, you know." And then he said, "Peace." This is somebody that I've known since I was probably 14. Mm-hmm. So I'm really grateful. I went to school, like I said, I'm just going to say it real quick. Mm-hmm. I went to school back in the day. I went to college the first time in 1989. Okay, I was studying journalism, communications. Everybody thought I was going to be on the radio and the TV, because that's something that I always wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I got married at a young age, at 20, and I was still in college, but then I had a child, and so on and so on. So, you know, as a mother, you put your children first. So I made sure, and then when my daughter decided to go to college, which not decided, she ain't had no choice, but to go to college, she was in there 1 year at Bowie State, or 1 semester, and I said, I'm going back. So I've gone back, I got a degree, I'm at UB getting another degree, and I always wanted to do this. They used to call me Little Oprah, they used to call me Bootleg Iyanla, all of that stuff, and I embrace it, and I accept that, and I thank you. So this is what I always say, and I'm gonna close with this. People come up to me and tell me their business all the time, all the time. They say, I've never told anybody, I'm 6 years old, I got raped. You're the first person I told. Or I never told anybody this or that. And I always say, it's not me, it's the God in me. You feel comfortable enough to share your stories. And people tell me I don't judge. That's a compliment to me, because who am I to judge? And I thank everybody for sharing this story, especially you, Danielle. I'm like just so grateful right now. And I want you guys to join me every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. We're going to have a lot more stories like this. I promise every show I'm not going to be crying. That's all right. I'm sorry. I got to make sure I did my eyeliner
People
run.
Love the real. And I love raw.
And I always say, I try so hard not to be real, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to be anyone but me. Sometimes I try to fall back a little bit. Sometimes I try not to answer the question I know in school or not say anything. But who would I be if I wasn't Kendell? Yes. I don't know how to do anybody else better than I can do myself. And honey, I can do myself real well without rehearsal. So I think this is awesome. Wait, I got some snot. Hold up. Y'all have to excuse the snot. But I'm so grateful, and I thank you, and I thank everybody for watching. Danielle, I thank you so much, and I want to have you back. But I thank you guys for watching Conversations. I really do. Please tell your friends and family about Radio on Fire. And if you want to be a sponsor, please contact radioonfire.com. Thank you.